back. This is Mike McHugh from Coastal Daybreak, along with Richard Clark from the Carteret News-Times. We've lost count. We think we're somewhere around 18, 19, 20, 21. Who knows?
21.
But who's counting?
We have drinking age now.
Yeah, that's right. We're legal. Hey, come get us. We're legal. Well, thanks for joining us. It is Wednesday. We're 2 days past Memorial Day, so that would make it like
and things are opening
May
up.
27th. Carteret County is open for business. Driving in the last couple mornings, Richard, I've noticed that the Best Western Hotel in Cedar Point, the parking lot is packed.
Yes.
And this is like at 5:15, 5:30 in the morning. So I'd imagine all those cars are people. Those are heads on beds.
I haven't been down east, I guess. But the shopping over here has been pretty crowded.
In Carteret County
and down Moorhead and so forth.
And I don't know how it is at other Dunkin' Donuts, but the one that's adjacent to the hotel,
Yeah.
I think when those people get their heads off their beds, they're going next door. They get in their car, and the line is like, is Dunkin' Donuts that so much a good cup of coffee that you gotta get in line?
Not me. I'm a Krispy Kreme person myself.
But you wait like
yeah.
Krispy Kreme donuts.
Oh,
okay. I know, look at that.
I'm donut though.
Yeah, we're donuts. I got
Not coffee.
Got the horizontal shirt working today. It's really not looking too good on the monitor here. But they say it puts on 50 pounds on the little screen.
Let's say it's 50.
Yeah.
Let's say 60.
Yeah, a little waif. I was 164 in high school.
I was 165.
Yeah.
I'm officially 60 pounds heavier
Oh!
than that now.
Really?
Yeah.
I went a couple of years ago, and I was taking a load of scrap up to the scrapyard. I stepped on the scale, and I said to the guy working there, I said, "What do you think I weigh?" And he's there. I think he said, "I think you weigh 150, 160." I'm like, "Yeah." Back in high school, and I got on there, and it was like 2 something.
Yeah.
Like 210, 205, 210. So I thought, I got to do something about this. So I just, I shedded about 30 or 40 pounds. But
Oh, that's good.
that,
There you go.
Kind of yo-yoed a little bit. So
My
food's
quarantine
still good.
weight right now is a little heavy, but we'll get that back down, I hope.
It seems like I go like every 3 or 4. Well, every weekend I go to the grocery store, and I'll tell you they're killing it. And
Well-
then you get to that last aisle where those big what are they called, Mike's Pizzas.
Oh, yeah.
They say they're 2 pounds of meat, and they're selling them for like $3 for $10 at Food Line.
Oh,
Oofa.
yeah.
So what
that's
goes
a
in
good
that cart?
food line over here down the road. What is that? 70 over here.
Yeah.
They got a lot of
No,
stuff.
they don't starve it. They don't starve it more.
That's
in
a
the city.
beautiful Harris Teeter's.
It's
right?
nice.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Honestly, that might be the nicest Harris Teeter I've ever been in. The one in Moorhead.
Yeah, this is real nice.
Is that new? That must be brand
It's
new.
relatively new.
Right.
Relatively new, and that's a nice chain. We don't have those, further
We
west.
had one in Greenville, but it was not anything like that.
It's a big store. There's a big store in Charlotte and a big store in Raleigh. So my
Okay.
nephew lives in Raleigh, so that's where I got my gift cards over here.
But yeah,
no,
the
you
pizza
go-
thing. Oof.
You ever go to Publix?
Yeah, well, not really, because it's
People-
expensive.
I don't know. They say that about Lowe's food when they first opened. Oh, it's expensive, but I'll tell you what, people go crazy. Do you guys go crazy?
Depends on
for
what you
Publix?
shop for, I think.
People love Publix.
Depends on what you're shopping for. I'm not one of these that needs to eat, something with 4 names or something like that. I'm not like that.
When you and I were back at the newspaper, we got a lot of stupid assignments, but one of them that wasn't stupid at first blush, it sounded dumb, was there was rumor on the street that a Publix was coming to Jacksonville,
Which it did.
which it eventually did, and I was assigned the story to cover the rumor. And I thought, well, why don't we wait till it just gets here? They said, no, you trust me, this will be the most read story. And believe it or not,
Yeah, I'm
it
sure it
wasn't
was.
because of any skill I had about writing the
Right.
story. People go crazy over Publix. And then when they came to Emerald Isle in western Carteret County, they parked themselves right next to the Food Line. And I'll never forget this. The mayor of Emerald Isle, Eddie Barber, said to me, well, we got a Publix coming to Emerald Isle. He was excited. The property owner of Emerald Plantation was not as excited, feeling that once they opened their doors, bye-bye Food Line. But you know what?
They've been able to maintain.
They're both maintained. Yeah, and you go by there, during the off season. That's the better barometer.
Well, it depends on, again,
they're both busy.
depends on what you're looking for. Publix is more, what's the word I'm looking for? Where you get specialty stuff
Yeah.
and they have more handmade stuff and things like that.
Handmade groceries.
Yeah, well, salads and
Yeah. Oh
things
yeah.
of that
They're
nature.
all going that way.
Right.
I went to Lowe's Food on Memorial Day and was assigned to pick up some broccoli salad and baked potato salad, delicious, about 2 pounds each. But sitting next in what used to be like the self-serve, they had the packaged honey chicken, like Chinese style.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh, it was $6. I was so tempted, but I thought, oh god,
You should have went for it.
No, I already had my tomato soup already brought out at home on the counter. I was ready.
See, that's better. Yesterday, I broke down and we got McDonald's.
Oh, it's good.
Yeah,
That's
I
good.
got two
Slides
Big
there.
Macs.
Yeah,
and,
two.
Oh, absolutely.
What was it?
Come on,
Was
man.
it a coupon?
You don't
Buy
get
one, get one?
Nah, it was just we decided that was gonna be our cheat day, but it's awful early in the week for the cheat day.
Did you get and then fries and then the
Oh,
drink,
yeah.
and then the Diet Cokes?
We actually got
2 Big Macs.
we
fries,
got
and a Diet
a
Coke.
large number 1, large number 6, and a large number 7, which is fish fillet and
I like
chicken McNuggets. So we got 3 big fries, and we destroyed.
Say what you want about McDonald's. Say what you want about it. I mean, when
It serves
when
a purpose.
When you are, at the point where you're hungry, that there is nothing that you push away from and say
It serves a purpose.
No, I don't want that.
And well, I don't want to go too deep into that, but their nuggets are
They're good.
as good as it
Yeah,
gets.
they're good. And their fries are as good as they get.
Yeah, the fries are the best. I don't care what anybody says.
I'll tell you what though.
I'll fight somebody
I
like
don't,
that.
I don't know if they have a imitation meat beef patty at McDonald's. I think they might be test marketing. They may not be here. Burger King's.
Have you had theirs?
Burger King's?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it good?
Yeah.
I've heard the same thing.
Holy. Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe I
Now,
need to go that route.
I don't know if it's. I mean, it's first of all, it's massive.
Mm-hmm.
It's massive and big. Let's be redundant.
Did it?
But it's got a lot of. I mean, it has great flavor. I'm not certain if that flavor emanates from the patty itself or all the schmutz they put on it. But nonetheless,
Well, yeah.
I had one.
I heard the exact same thing.
I was doing a football game at Swansboro, and Burger King is right across the street, more or less, from the high school. And I thought, well, I'll get this, and I'll just eat. I'll tailgate, And I could have had 3 of them.
I've heard the same thing. It didn't upset your stomach or anything.
No,
Yeah, I
no,
heard the
no.
same thing.
They're good,
That's
and their
what I
fries
heard.
are good too. I like Burger King.
Well, my girlfriend eats a lot of tofu and things of that nature, which I don't touch. So, I've been tossing that idea around one day that I'm going to try that Whopper. Impossible
I'll tell you
Whopper. I
what,
think
Impossible
it's
Whopper. You would not be disappointed. Yeah, I'll tell you, I could go up and down. I could go up and down Arundel Street. I could hit Chick-fil-A.
Yep.
For a
Sonic.
meal. Sonic, Moore's Barbecue. I'm going out of town. Moore's Barbecue. Heck, I'll pull into Mike's restaurant in Cape Carteret.
Yeah.
And then you got Bojangles. When I was coming back from the radio show in Cedar Point, Bojangles is right across from BB&T, and their line was nearly out to 24.
Yeah.
And I think it was raining in the morning. They had a person serving that line with a handheld device to put the order in. And I think the store was open inside, but the drive-through was just crazy.
I made a mistake of going out at about 12:30, and I went to Chick-fil-A, lying around the building. I went across the street to Sonic, all the little stalls full.
Yeah.
I ended up, I think, down at Burger King or
People
something.
are out. People are out and about. I'll tell you what. I may have to drive to Jacksonville because I'm not sure. Help me out. Is there a KFC here in Moorhead?
I thought I saw one down that way, but I don't know for sure.
Anyway, I see.
And
that.
down that way would be down toward the beach.
I see that commercial, that retro commercial with the Colonel, and the people wearing. It's like from the '60s. They're wearing shirts like this because this shirt's pretty much from the '60s. Getting a bucket of chicken. How good is Kentucky Fried Chicken?
Again, we
Oh
do
my
that.
God.
That's one of our cheat deals. Is we just like on an early Saturday or something when we're not going to be going out, we just get a bucket of chicken and eat that all day. Both meals.
Yeah.
We don't eat great.
My,
Something I need to work
the
on.
first NASCAR race I went to was an October race in 1988, I believe, at Charlotte Motor Speedway, and they had it was Popeyes or Bojangles. I think it was Bojangles, and I had never heard of it before, and they had the boxes, the boxes that go.
Oh
my
God, those
God.
things are great, by the way.
Yeah.
They got tea in them and everything.
Yeah, it was like, and I'll never forget.
Shout out to Bojangles.
Walked into the Charlotte Motor Speedway in the concession, and we had a trailer or a mobile home, RV across the street, parked across the street, and I went with a bunch of guys from our shop in Maryland, and not knowing what to expect, and walked in there, and there was stacks of Bojangles chicken for sale. There were cartons of Winston cigarettes for sale. People were buying cartons of cigarettes for the race. And then there were stacks, cases of Busch beer.
Yeah.
I'll never forget
All
that.
of them were sponsors at the time.
It was the Busch race.
Yeah.
Saturday was the Busch race.
Well, again, going back to the packaging, they have Bojangles has it right. We got a one of those tailgate meals, and it comes in a box.
Yeah.
And it's got a little place for the tea, and then all the boxes of
all
each
the
one
fixings.
inside, and you could just and I was like, boy, that's marketing genius right there.
Yeah.
They got
That's
that
good.
packaging
Yeah,
down.
you know what?
That's one of the group.
And that's where you just say, you know what, we're going to Emerald Isle for the day. You swing in Cedar Point. Off
And
the
then the
beach.
best part
But
is
Chick-fil-A
you can put all the garbage right back in the box.
Chick-fil-A does that.
Do they? Yeah, but I haven't got there.
So they got the box. So they got it. I mean, they've all figured out. I think even McDonald's has they have a big bag. I see.
Kentucky Fried Chicken does not. They still have
They
the
have the
bucket, and
bucket.
then you got
They have
all
the
these
little-
little pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't,
You're gonna be hungry.
I'm hungry now.
God,
I'm real hungry now.
we need to get a sponsor. I could
Did Les say the race is canceled tonight? Les?
No, well, so we talked to Les Still on the show this morning. Les is the meteorologist for WCTI 12, and there's a system that's coming, a rain system that's coming up the Atlantic seaboard. It's centered right now, because it may be named Bertha, but not like a hurricane. It's just going to be a rainmaker. It's got a little circulation to it. It's off of, it was in Charleston and Georgetown, and it's going to go out west northwest towards Charlotte. It's moving fast.
Right.
That's what we're getting right now. We're getting the top side of the spin.
Dang,
The
will it
tropical
pass
air.
us?
No, we're gonna get the nothing's gonna push it out. So it's gonna hang for a couple days, but it's gonna do
So it's gonna rain out the race probably.
it's gonna do two things. Yeah, it's gonna probably rain out tonight's cup race. I'm getting spoiled.
Yeah.
I watched the truck race.
Yeah, it was a good one too, by the way.
Yeah, they look strange.
Yeah.
They just look like they want to lose their back end.
Yeah.
You know.
They had to put a lot of weight in the
They
back.
must
though.
have, like
That's
ballast.
why they got them sealed off.
Did you see
'Cause they
that?
got a lot of weight
The
in there.
car. Who was the car? Was it
11.
Hamill?
Jimmy Hamlin.
Yeah, where the ballast fell
Yeah,
out.
they got penalized for that.
Yeah.
4 crew guys.
Yeah.
I told you that would happen.
You know, and that chunk of metal went out, and on
Tungsten.
It's tungsten steel.
Yeah.
You don't know all the nuances of building a race
Well,
car.
and reason they got suspended is because you don't know if it wasn't secured in their good, then it leaves the option that they could take it out during the race and then put it back in,
Right.
and make the car lighter. So
Did you see the one car? Who was Jeff Earnhardt. It was in the Busch race, I guess, or the Xfinity race. Comes into the pits, does a 4-tire change, and they didn't get the jack out from underneath the car. He pulls out of the pit with the jack perpendicular to the car, going around the track, just firing off sparks. Now I wondered, he had to make it all the way around.
yeah,
So that's a mile and a half.
Yeah.
I wonder if he would have just you know what, I'm just going to stop the car, jump out, put it in the passenger's seat. There is no seat.
Yeah.
But in that area, and then bring it back. Would he have gotten penalized for getting out of the car on the track?
Yeah. They don't much care for that these days.
Yeah.
After some of the fights.
I don't
they
know
had
what
and so
I don't
forth.
know what the jack looked like, but for that matter,
Those things are pretty light now.
But it's in the track. I don't know if it dug up any of the asphalt there.
No.
But that was, I'll tell you, that jackman's probably
Well, the driver might have been at fault. You don't really
Who
know.
knows? Yeah.
Yeah, you don't really know.
The 48 car got DQ'd in the post race trial.
Yeah, Jimmy Johnson.
Jimmy Johnson, yeah. I don't know. It always amazes me in NASCAR when you have that car, and then they tear it apart at the end, and they go through it to make sure that it's all standing. How do they? I mean, they can go to the point where the sheet metal was a millimeter.
That's
off.
because they're not really stock cars anymore.
No, they're not.
And they're templated cars, so they can go through them.
But I
pretty
wonder
easily.
if they do all of the cars or just
No.
the top cars.
They do the guide at one, and they'll do
Random.
various random ones,
Just to keep them
supposedly
honest.
random,
Yeah.
to keep them honest.
Yeah.
But no,
But even
they
like
don't worry
the gas tank was a half gallon bigger. Well, that makes a big difference. in
No,
the race,
absolutely, all of it. Even if it's an inch shorter than it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
That's it. That's wind stuff, aerodynamics.
And I want the Winston Cup, them old school. The cup cars are a certain weight. I think they're like what 3,500.
3,500 pounds.
And then the Infinity
It's lighter.
is a bit lighter, a couple hundred pounds lighter.
Yeah,
I think it's like
maybe even-
3,200, something like that. It's amazing. I mean, heck, I can barely pump gas into my car.
Well-
But these guys can construct something out of sheet metal, and the engine
and they
then
fabricate it.
all
The whole
air-
thing,
Yeah.
the chassis and everything.
Well, the engine's all built.
Yeah, everything is fabricated. They get help from the manufacturer for the motor, but that's really about it.
Yeah, it's-
everything else is pretty much
It
fabricated.
even kills when you see the truck races. They look like little toys out there, little truck toys.
I'd love to get in one of those and just go around.
Are their speeds the same as the Cups? they're less.
Yeah.
I would think, because they're aerodynamic.
Yeah,
as
they're
well.
not good aerodynamically.
They just look like they want to. Their back end ones.
Yeah,
look like
well, again, weight and everything else. You know, but I will say this: sports are trying locally. Football is in peril. We had a good piece from all the athletic directors from the area talking about, and it's not looking good, and they don't know what they'll do if football's not played because
it's a shame.
it pays for everything.
Yeah, it's a shame.
I think it was East Carteret AD said, you know, that football made 18 grand last year and basketball made 10.
Yeah.
So it's almost double.
Yeah, it's a shame. And then you have, you get that from the gate. Plus, they also have the concessions, and then the support groups.
Yeah.
You know, like the Century Club in Swansboro. They
And
all the teams have their supporters.
Whereas they found out at ECU, if football's not played, football's not the one that ultimately is going to be penalized. At ECU, they killed swimming, diving, and tennis.
Yeah,
It's going to trickle down like that. It's not going to be
that's
football.
just the beginning.
And these high schools are even more in a financial crunch.
Mm-hmm.
So all these teams, if you play lacrosse or whatever, I don't know what to tell you. You better do some fundraising.
It's also going to depend on how they structure the calendar, the school calendar, which really, again, we're swerving into the virus here, but we're talking about Carteret County schools, and it's going to apply to all schools. It's the kids aren't the people who are susceptible to the virus are people with underlying medical conditions and the elderly. Let's be honest. Elementary school, forget it. They're not the ones. Yet we're spacing out schools. All schools from K through 5, middle school, high school, and into the college ranks. College is going to be they're going to start early, and I mean, I wish where was the virus when I was in college?
Well,
we're going to start early and be done at Thanksgiving, and we won't see you until July. Or January.
I was at ECU when Floyd came through,
and Hazel,
and well,
you were there for a while.
So that was what, beginning of October or something like that. And they gave us the option of staying or leaving, and you weren't going to be penalized or whatever.
Yeah.
I chose to stay because I knew that they wouldn't be able to do their regular courses. So, you go and you kind of get an abbreviated version of it. It's like summer school.
Floyd was 99.
99.
What were you, 30-something when you graduated? Jesus Christ.
Hey, you gotta do what you
got
gotta
your
do.
money's worth.
Yeah, that's how
that
it works.
campus.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
Forget about 4 and out. You enjoy it. You only have it once. That's the mistake you make, I think. I knew some kids that got through college in 3 years. Like, what's the rush?
Unless you're going to make a lot of money, and then you can really enjoy life.
I know. I still have 4 years of eligibility on the basketball court.
I've been waiting for him to come to draft me, but
Which, you know what? I haven't heard anything, so I guess it's good news. But our former coach at Georgetown, Pat Ewing, and now
he's out.
The coach, I mean, not former player and coach.
Yeah,
good.
He's out.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
He got out yesterday or the day before.
Yeah.
And
so he's been in about a week or so. So
Yeah.
that's good to hear. Because I mean the mortality, the morbidity rate of this is 99.6 or something like that. So good for Patrick.
Speaking from basketball, they're really trying now. They're having real meetings with the owners, and Mark Cuban, owner of Dallas Mavericks, said that he's pretty confident at this point that they're going to play something. So
in a bubble.
They don't know yet. They got several areas. One is the bubble thing.
That's what Disney World?
Yeah. Are we doing cities for everybody, or are we doing everybody in a bubble? They got to work that out. The other one is the actual schedule.
Mm-hmm.
How you going? Is everybody in? Is everybody out? The last I heard, one of the things being tossed around is the last 3 teams in each conference, they're just out, and they'll start playing some form of the last few teams vie for the last spot of the playoffs, and then they'll start kick that up. So
we'll see. I hope there's some way they can allow fans to watch it. I'd like to see
baseball's in the same boat.
Baseball, I think they can do it. Baseball, they're outdoors. Basketball's inside, so that's a
I
challenge.
think the pros for everybody will be back by middle of June.
What's going to be interesting is if you look at the true data, and I mean data that it can be honestly analyzed and accepted, and the science of the virus. Okay, this past weekend, and people living here in Carteret County can appreciate this. The beaches were packed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the beaches were packed the week before Memorial Day, and some said that it was more crowded on the week prior to Memorial Day than in past July 4th weekends. We heard that from an official in Atlantic Beach saying that the water usage was greater
Right.
than July 4th in past. So you have all these people collecting together in close proximity to one another on beaches. You saw it around the nation, in New Orleans, in Ocean City, New
Maryland.
Jersey, and Maryland, Boardwalk.
Yeah.
People in close confinements. Okay. So if the incubation period is 5 to 6 days, thereabouts.
That was 2 weeks.
Well, it's okay. Let's just say 2 weeks.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. So that big crowd that was here almost 2 weeks ago on Emerald Isle
You'd be showing up if it's
would
still
be
there.
showing up. So let's just. I mean,
Well, and that's been
let's hope it doesn't. I mean, I'm looking on the positive side. So let's hope it does not, and also look at what we know about viruses that typically coming in the summer they dip. And yeah, we hear about this possible second wave or spike. That's natural in the worlds of viruses.
Well, what I hope is that in the NBA, for instance, they get everybody together in, let's call it a bubble city, wherever that is, and they test them right then when they get there. They stay there. You wait 2 weeks, whatever the incubation is, and then let's go.
Yeah,
Boom.
yeah.
That's my hope.
And you know what? And if someone does get sick, and people have gotten sick in the past, we used to call it the crud. Hey, you know what?
Yeah.
You sound awful. I know it's summertime, but I got a cold. Yeah, it's called you have a virus. If someone were to get it, during the throes of the revised NBA season, let's not, S-can the whole season.
Yeah, they
didn't know what they had. I give them that. They didn't know what they had in March. Was now, the date now is becoming emblazed March 11th. Right. NBA shuts down. NCAA does the same thing at halftime of some of the games at the Garden.
Well, I look at it like this.
So let's hope that they use a little bit more restraint rather than saying, okay, we just played 4 games. One player from one team just got sick. We're scrubbing the whole league.
Well, I think if we learn anything from this,
from this podcast. Is that possible?
No, he's probably doing the opposite.
I feel more stupid after I listened to this than I was going into it. I heard some people say that.
But if we learn anything,
that was my mom that said that.
Maybe just the common sense of not sneezing on people like a kid did to me in Olive Garden, and washing your hands.
On purpose or just
No.
Was it a small kid?
No,
should have known better.
should have known better. But he was the first one out of the booth with his family. We walk around the corner, and he's up, and his family's getting out of the booth.
Yeah.
And he just sneezes on me. I felt.
Well, you know what? I mean, Wuhan virus or no virus, that's a pig.
That's just disgusting.
Yeah. And,
Anyway, and
he
his
wasn't
parent,
like a 4-year-old, right?
No,
he's a
12 to
15. He knows
15,
better. And he probably lives in a pigsty.
And just sneezed on me. I felt it. I was disgusted.
Yeah.
And parents,
They
act
look
like
bad.
nothing happened. And they act like my mom would have been appalled.
Oh my God.
She would have been appalled.
How many kids were in the booth? 6, 7, 8?
3.
Wow.
Yeah. He was the oldest.
Jesus, you call that
And look,
snot-nosed
as
old crap.
somebody
Yes,
that I used to, a friend of mine, she was a waitress, and the one thing they hated was not that they bunch of kids or whatever. It was that they didn't clean up anything.
Other pigs. Well,
They would just come in and
they
the
feel like
place
they're
would
out.
be
They're out.
and it's not their responsibility. There's stuff everywhere, and you're just like, really?
Do you ever look at when the lights go on at a movie theater, and where the family of whatever just sat there? It's like, well, I mean, where is it say on the movie ticket that you can come in here? Yeah, the concessions are expensive, but you know what? You can spill your soda down there. You can put your popcorn.
We could take that a step further. That's what's happening in sports now, particularly in the NBA, because of the proximity. Is people think they pay this money, they can say whatever they want.
Oh yeah.
And, that's fine. I live under the theory of this. You can say whatever you want. Be prepared for the repercussions.
Mm-hmm.
And that might mean getting punched in the face.
I
And don't run to the police after you say something crazy and they punch you in the face. That's just common sense to me.
Yeah.
I
I had an opportunity in January or right around Christmas to go up to D.C. and my brother got tickets for the American University Georgetown game, and he's an American alum, and he's in their booster. So we got seats right behind the AU bench, which was fantastic. I mean, it's like sitting in first class on an airplane. You never want to sit back and coach again.
No.
So you're sitting right there on the floor. The next best seat is the player sitting in front of you. And actually, we were 2 rows in, so there was a front row and then the players. There was a gentleman sitting in front of me that on every play and every call, because now he's an AU fan, okay? And Patrick Ewing is the coach for Georgetown, and he's standing within earshot and just riding Pat's ass the whole time. Patrick isn't that type of guy.
No.
He's not that. He was not that type of player in the NBA or in college.
I mean, he's probably immune to a lot of it because of his years in the league.
And he wasn't getting ad hominem derogatory. It was like he was making the point, or trying to make the point to the referees, that just because he's Pat Ewing and who he is, you're giving all the calls to Georgetown and not to AU. Just analyzing everything. It's like, shut up and just watch the game.
Well, and don't get me wrong, a little bit of that I don't have a problem with.
Yeah.
And there's a line to me. You know, if you want to talk about their play or any of that, that's fine. But when you get personal, that's something entirely different.
Right.
I disagree with the personal thing, and you talk about somebody's mother or their wife or something of that nature, then you get what you get.
Yeah.
It's just my opinion. And it's like that with what you're talking about. These kids go, not just kids,
Patrick, when
families go out.
You remember when Patrick came into the league, into the Big East?
They were
it was brutal.
Yeah.
It was brutal, and that was not fair for anybody, especially an 18-year-old young man like him coming into the league.
Go back.
What they were throwing at him.
Go back to YouTube, Boston College, Georgetown.
Yeah.
Was that 81?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, it's brutal.
Yeah, there's no place for that in sports. That's not being sports, sports at all. It's
no,
not.
It was pretty bad. But again, that's in the same vein to me as the people that go to a restaurant and just there's stuff
gross.
all over the floor.
Yeah, that's gross.
I mean,
well, you know what? You can imagine. And if I'm wrong, put that on there. You're wrong. But imagine what their house looks like. It's probably a dump. They're pigs.
Either that or they got a nanny at home taking care of a maid or something.
Yeah, that's gross.
I don't.
That just.
Well, we just didn't do that.
No.
Like I remember. Nowadays, you see it all the time, particularly on airplanes and things. Kids standing in the seats and things like that. I just wasn't allowed to do that, and maybe, and I'm not sitting here saying somebody should get a trophy for great parenting in my house or anything like that, but. Is that the norm? Yeah. Is it okay to do that now?
No, it's not. It never has been. And you see it sometimes on your beaches. Go to Emerald Isle Beach. For the most part, people take the trash up to the trash cans. But there is a certain segment that will consume whatever beverages in their bottle
and leave it.
Or they'll bury it in the sand, as if I got a sight out of mind. Or the beach. And I hope you don't do this, Richard. Don't tell me you do this. The beach to them is their big ashtray. They'll just.
Oh no!
He good.
No.
He smokes.
I'll put it in something.
Yeah,
usually a can.
Yeah. So, but I saw this little old lady one time, and I scrap, so I go out to the beach, and I'm going through the trash cans. Now I look like a bum, but a respectable bum. I'm very polite. If people ask me what I'm doing, I tell them why I'm doing it. But I'm not dressed in such fancy attire that I have on now. I'm rather natty in my. But I do wear gloves. And I'm going through and I'm sorting the trash, and this little old woman came up to me, and she had a cigarette in her mouth, despite the 40-mile-an-hour wind. She didn't be able to light one. And she asked which was the proper receptacle for her trash, and I directed her to the proper bin. She did. She walked back, and I looked, and she walked back to her tent, took the cigarette out of her mouth, and like, Jesus, where do you think that goes, Grandma?
Well, really, if anything with cigarettes, really it's the filter.
It's the filter. Oh yeah,
so
the paper.
If you just break that off, the rest of it.
But that's what you see on the tide line there, Yeah. So that bothers me. And that same little kid that blew snot on you at the restaurant, he's probably the same little kid that goes out to the beach. We're gonna close on this one because we went long. I don't know where it's written, but little kids in the beach and seagulls, they feel the need to get a handful of sand or some sort of projectile and toss it at the birds. I don't get that. Why is that?
But where are the parents?
Right there, sitting on their big behinds, not seeing their kids.
I don't understand, but to each his own, I guess.
People think sometimes the beach is like this protected area. We came onto the beach, it's all families, there's the dunes, there's the water, and all of a sudden, like their little kids are like, down the beach and they don't know where they are, Wow. And you see this little kid wandering around, looking around like where, I saw that several times last year.
I think
the lifeguards, go over, they pick up the child. You can see what they're saying. Like, are they? Is mommy over there? No, the kid doesn't know.
Or lifeguards, and they're usually kids themselves.
And then you see the dumbass mother walking around looking, like, where's my kid? Smoking a cigarette, flipping it out like that, looking at me going through the trash. It's a show. I love Carteret County and their beaches. It's gorgeous.
And keep them nice.
Yeah, keep them nice.
I'm sure the residents here
Yeah.
Have some issues with some of that. They have so many out, whatever you call them. transplants or whatever coming down.
Visitors, day trippers, day trippers or week.
I hope they treat it nice and
For the most part, they do. They do. Thanks for joining us today. We'll do another one in a couple days, probably on Friday, on Carteret Connects. Thanks for joining us.
Have a good day.